Hello fellow calligraphers, calligraphy enthusiasts, and all of you who want to make the world a better place through calligraphy. Today I would like to talk to you about the two approaches to calligraphy. The first one being traditional, the second one being modern. Because these two actually intersect in nowadays world quite a lot. Traditional per se goes into the past, how it was done originally in the classic way. Let me show you how it looks in Mongolian. This is one of the books about Mongolian calligraphy. If we would look inside, you can see different approaches, different ways how to work with the script, and this would be considered more traditional. This is how it was done before. The calligraphy that we can see nowadays with different scripts, with Latin, with Cyrillic, could be seen with different masters of modern calligraphy. And one of my great role models for modern calligraphy is Mr. Shu. And this is his book. I got it, and if one looks inside, this is the approach that is simply amazing. Because how to stylize the letters in a way which is innovative and still keeping the whole idea of calligraphy behind it. The whole thing actually put together so that it conveys the message, conveys the artistic approach, and still being legible and interesting to someone who doesn't know that much, let's say, about calligraphy, but still this being approachable as an art form. So this would be, for me, one of the major modern calligraphers I was lucky enough to not meet personally, but to see his works. This would be the first dichotomy of calligraphy. One, the old approach, one, the modern approach. The second approach would be, what kind of tools are you using to create any type of calligraphy? It could be the classic, it could be a brush, something like this, let's say. I believe I've shown this brush in a different video before. If I just go see the other one as well, once you finish this one. And it could be with a brush. You take ink, you take a brush, a piece of paper, and then you just create. You focus on the hair, you focus on the thickness of the brush and the whole mindset. How you think about placing the brush and how it goes. And this is how it was done before, the same way. You have to focus, you have to think about it, prepare, what are you going to write, and then you just put your personal energy into the whole flow of the thing. That would be the topic that which is connected, which is together with the modern, because still when you create modern calligraphy, let's say with a marker like this, I do like the Molotov brand because they just make great markers, and with these the mental approach to it would be very similar. You still need to focus, you still need to think about it. It just makes a slightly different flow to the whole art of calligraphy. So it could be either traditional like this or modern, let's say with a marker. But with modern, you could see online very different approaches on how, like, what to do calligraphy with. I mean, I saw it with cement, I saw it with sand, or you could with a pencil if you like. It doesn't really matter that much, as long as you create calligraphy like that. And especially for me, usually it's a blend of modern and traditional calligraphy, because I love using brushes. On the other hand, when I paint or if I write on someone, on a person, on bodygraphy, then sometimes with a marker, sometimes with a brush pen, or I'm using different tools. So in a way, it's a fusion of these two approaches. And I do believe that for the future, this would be the ideal mix, because you like to respect the old masters of how this was done, because these are the foundations that we are building on, but still you like to put in something from yourself personally. You like to innovate a little bit, but that is only possible once you've mastered and when you understand the approach of the past. And when these two actually blend, then you can create wonderful art. And when talking about understanding the old masters, the old approaches to calligraphy, it's always about something being very strict within the rules and something being very lenient with the rules. Because if you understand them, then you know which rules you actually can break and which you cannot. It's the same thing for composition. When you work with composition in any form of artwork, then you need to understand the different rules, the different approaches, and when you break them, then it makes sense. It's still understandable for the human eye how it works. And if you see that this is slightly off, the little detail is slightly off, then you know you've broken the rule, but purposefully. Let's say if we would look at Japanese calligraphy, where the brush strokes have very specific ways, the sequence needs to be specific for the script to be understandable and to be considered beautiful. This would be one of the rules that you need to understand. In Mongolian, there is no such thing as the specific sequence, although it is usually done in a certain way. In Mongolian, for the modern, at least how I perceive it, you change the shapes, you can change the sequences based on the flow that you want to put in the canvas. That it can be seen there, how it is done and how it works and so on. And only then the blend actually works. But first, you always need to start with the basics. You need to start from the very beginning for you to understand how it works and what the desired result should be. But I'll talk about the specific mistakes can be done in a following video, so stay tuned. And last point about comparing the traditional and the modern calligraphy would always be the aesthetics. You can easily see when you see a calligraphy which is hand-painted with a brush that it just resembles something old, something very traditional, compared to, let's say, graffiti. That's what Mr. Shu did quite a lot, was calligraphy. It looks more, not necessarily more dynamic, but more shaped, more aggressive, let's say. And these two, if you look at them from both sides, I mean, each has a very distinct flow, a very distinct idea behind it, but still you could call both of them calligraphy because, well, it's a different approach, it's a different viewpoint, and as long as you follow the basic rules, it might make sense, and then you can just blend whatever you like into one beautiful art piece. And this is how I believe we can make the world a better place through calligraphy. Cheers!